This conference will now be recorded.
We'll start with the roll call. Ms. Kellmeyer. Ms. Kellmeyer. I know you're there.
I am here.
Okay. And Ms. O'Connell. Could you say please? Please. Miss O'Connell, I saw her. She's muted, but I see that she's on. I'm going to mark her as present. Miss Dillon? And I see she's on. Noreen, could you say hi here? All right, but I do see she's logged in. Mr. Kish?
Here.
And Mr. Davis?
Here.
Sir, all are present and you have a quorum.
Okay. If you would proceed, Cal.
Okay, first would be the approval of the agenda. And any additions or corrections to the agenda?
I have one question, Cal.
Yes.
On 5B, the resolution 2020-06, approval of fiscal year 2021 budget. Should the word approval be a change to adopted? Because the resolution specifically says the board is going to adopt, going to adopt, going to adopt. So should approval be changed to
Sure.
adopt?
Adoption of, sure. Okay, any other changes or corrections to the agenda? We need a motion to approve.
So move, Cal.
Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, Terry, you are muted, and Noreen, I haven't heard from you.
Yes, I said, yeah.
Okay, all right.
Can you hear me now?
I can hear you now.
Okay.
We can do a Verizon commercial. I can hear you now.
Right.
Let's see, Terry, Terry, you need to unmute yourself. All right, but I'm going to put her as approval. Okay, now you got a copy of the minutes from July 17th. Any changes or suggested corrections?
I have one.
Okay.
Page, well, the first page. It's actually line, well, in 7.
Okay.
It says that, hold on a second here. Tony was here, he was not.
Correct.
He did come in later.
I don't think
Are you
so.
sure?
No,
No,
Cal, I
he
didn't.
wasn't.
No,
No, he
I
was
was
not
out.
there.
I was out for a funeral, Cal.
Oh, that's right. That's right. Okay, so where it says all board members were present, we'll put except
Right.
for Chairman Davis.
Yeah.
Okay, awesome.
I have one.
Yes, ma'am.
Not a biggie. Item number 41,
Okay,
page 6, I'm going to say.
okay,
The second line, the board voted, need to insert the word to accept.
yes.
Okay,
Okay,
that was all I had. I have one other thing on the agenda,
okay,
and it has to do with the cover letter. That was the first page. I'm sorry to go backwards. Very first page. The last paragraph, any supporting documents, da, da, da. The next meeting is scheduled for August 21st. Going back and looking, with this being dated August 14th, it should refer to the September meeting as compared to this meeting.
No, not really.
No.
This, the letter, this is just a summary of the agenda. It's not, but it's regarding this meeting.
Yeah, okay.
Maybe instead of saying next, we just say the meeting is scheduled for, but that's just, it's not an official document.
Okay.
It's something that I added only because, you know, you've got an agenda and so it anyhow, okay?
It's in the
Okay,
first sentence.
That's fine, Cal. It is in the first sentence, and
it's in
previously
the
the
first
bottom
sentence.
paragraph has always been the next meeting is the following months, but it's fine the way it is.
Okay. All right, let me look at it, and when we do it next month, we'll either, if it should be like in stating what the next meeting is, we'll put it, you know, I'm just not sure how I intended it now.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Any other corrections to the agenda, the minutes? Need, we have a suggested change on line 41 and 7, and those have both been noted.
I move we accept the minutes as, with the changes.
I'll second it.
Okay, any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, any opposed? Okay, that takes us to audience comments on any agenda items, and you will have an opportunity to speak during the budget also, which is a public hearing. No comments. That'll move us into the budget public hearing, and the budget is that's being proposed has no increase. It does include the last debt payment, which will go away during fiscal year 2021. There's 50,000 for irrigation meters, 275,000 for the replacement of the water meters, and in both funds, both your enterprise fund and your general fund or your operating fund for general operations, there's a strong fund balance in both of them. So with that, I'd take a motion to open the public hearing
So
at
move, Cal.
9:08. Okay, is there a second? Okay,
Yes.
seconded by Ms. Dillon, moved by Mr. Davis to open the meeting. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, with that, are there any comments from the public regarding the budget? With the board, we'll go into it after the public hearing's closed, and then the board can take those discussions into consideration and discuss the budget among yourselves. This is an opportunity for the public. Is there any public comment on the budget? Any questions on the budget from the public? Okay, then we take a motion to close at 9:09.
So move, Cal.
Also move.
Okay, moved by Mr. Davis, seconded by Mrs. Kellmeyer. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, this is your financial plan, and it's opportunity for the board to make any comments. There were a couple questions that was submitted to me by Ms. O'Connell. We want the budget to be right, and I'm not sure what the issues are, but if any of the board members has a question or would like an explanation, please raise that now.
I have a question, Cal.
Yes, ma'am.
On the last page where there's the breakdown of the assessment rates,
Yes.
are all the units, land, houses accounted for in this, or are some of them excluded because we own the property?
Yes. Anything that we own is excluded.
Okay.
All right, I had a question
Okay.
on, let me see where it is. All right, it's on the water sewer budget.
Okay.
We're budgeting meter replacement.
Yes.
Is that an additional amount over and above what we budgeted in this year's budget?
You didn't budget anything in this year's budget.
I think we did.
No.
No.
You discussed it and it was put in the proposed budget in May. And it is for a fiscal year 21 project. We're hoping to be prepared in early at the end of 20, but is still part of the fiscal year 2021 budget.
Okay, I'll have to look for where I thought I saw it. All right.
Okay, any other questions? Now, the assessment rate cannot be increased. It can be decreased, but you know, it can't be increased. And I think that the goal of the board was to wait until the debt was paid off, and which will be during this fiscal year. And then when you start preparing your new budget, you would consider reduction in assessment rates at that time.
Correct.
That's the discussion at this point in time.
Yes.
Yes.
Now, keep in mind the meter replacement. This is to replace both the irrigation meters and the water meters. And that's why we broke them down. Total project, you know, we've got 325,000 set up, 275 in the water fund for the water meters, and then 50,000 for the irrigation meters. It might not break out that way. We just wanted to show that there was, you know, once we get the bids, we'll be able to break it down more appropriately. But there's enough to cover both phases of the project. Okay. Any
And
other
basically,
questions?
Basically, that's our only capital improvement we'll be doing in the 2021 budget.
Not necessarily. It you have almost 9,000 that's unappropriated as capital in the water sewer fund, and then you have in the general fund you have nothing appropriated there. But you do have a fund balance that's healthy, and you would be able to, if you had an emergency or you had something that you wanted to, that you felt was absolutely critical, then we would be able to take care of it at that time.
Yeah, I think what I'm thinking, I thought when we're probably by next year, but I thought when we're getting to the end of this debt service that we would start allocating for capital improvements. And if you said there'd be an increase in fund balance, I can understand an emergence coming from fund balance, but as far as planning, just like these meters, shouldn't we plan that we'd like to, what we're doing on capital improvements? And that's my question. Is it only the meters we'll be doing
Yes.
that we're
Yes,
planning
it's
on?
only the only meters that are in the current CIP
Okay.
for this year. Now, Ron submitted a CIP.
This year being 2021 or 2020?
Ron submitted one that is a CIP for 5 years, the next 5 years. And one of
Right.
those items, which Mitch, Ron, and I all felt was the most critical, was the meter change out. The rest of that is in, and we'll start working and present something to the board for your consideration of adoption, a overall capital improvement plan that would take all of those items that Mitch and Ron have identified and put it into a plan. If it's something that's general fund related, like road replacement or road resurfacing, that would be, or irrigation, if there was controllers or something changed out, that would be in the general fund. Everything else would be in the water sewer fund, the enterprise
Well,
fund.
what comes to mind was last meeting, we had a computer go down.
Yes,
So we're operating on one computer, which is okay, we're operational. But does this mean we're gonna take a whole year before we budget to replace that computer?
I believe you've
I
got
don't know the cost of that
I
computer.
believe you've got a proposal in the packet that was the second packets, the handouts that Mitch is presenting as far as the SCADA. But that'll come up during Mitch's meeting. So it'll be in this year's budget, the replacement of that computer.
Yeah,
Okay.
remember to SCADA.
Cal,
Yes,
this is Ron. Can I make a comment?
sure.
Yeah, there was a discussion at the last meeting, or definitely the last meeting, maybe the month before, regarding some stormwater improvements, and we had a report that we provided, and I believe, as far as the discussion you're just having now, that there are no projects or costs in the budget for next year, but Montez was going to prepare a proposal to do a engineering study. It wasn't going to be too major, but a study to come up with what stormwater improvements would be needed to be added to the capital improvement plan, which is beyond the year we're talking about. But there were some minor items that were included in our memorandum last month that we thought, I don't recall if it was going to be SODA or it was going to be through Cal's office, that they were going to do some minor work that we had identified, but that what I owe the board is a proposal for engineering to determine what the capital improvements for stormwater will be to go along with your future budgeting.
Right.
I don't believe there was anything that we needed immediate term. And again, I may be misinterpreting discussions the board had last month, but
Okay.
I assume it's beyond this year.
Yeah, the board had just requested an estimate, and but we would include that in the CIP as the board takes a look at that total plan. Okay.
Yes. Okay. So what I owed you, and I did not get it by today, was a proposal for Whole Montez to be certain number of hours to basically do the compilation of future stormwater improvements.
Right.
Is that correct? Did I miss something last month?
No, that's what I understood too.
Okay, so we weren't estimating costs of projects yet.
Right.
Okay,
But you were going to give us an estimate of, that would be, but that's down the road. Right now, we needed a proposal from you to go in and shoot the elevations and get the proper changes that needed to be made in the swales. Okay.
Okay. Thank you. Sorry.
Any other discussions on the budget?
Yeah, I got some questions.
Okay.
I'm just looking at the trends as far as in the general fund.
Okay, that's the finances. The financial report.
Or
Well, your budget, I'm just looking at the, like total projected for 2020 versus proposed budget for 2021.
Gotcha. I'm sorry. You're right. Okay,
On page 13,
yes.
almost all our proposed budgets are less than our projected 2020. That doesn't make sense to me.
Yes.
I mean, we're not going to spend less. I doubt it anyway. I mean, we got, what? Shit, 25,000 less for operations and maintenance. We've got a little bit more for landscape and irrigation, which, I just think the budgets are a little low. Total roads and sidewalks is $10,000 more. Mosquito spraying is $10,000 less. I just don't think those budget numbers forecasted for 2021 should be less. Especially like landscaping and irrigation. I mean, the actual budget in 2018 was 125,000. Now we're down 10,000 from. Budget is down 10,000 from what it was 3 years ago. You know what I mean? The trends just don't. I don't want to have to catch up or be skimping when we could be putting some money towards.
Russ, I think the main items that where the money came from is we lowered the hurricane in the budget. Like on water sewer, we lowered the hurricane by $45,000 from 50,000 down to 5,000. But overall, I think the total budget remains in line with 2020, the total amount. A lot of it was moving it on different lines. Like one thing I did notice was the contracts, mosquito treatment. That went down by 10,000, but we're under contract for that, and I believe the contract is greater than 9,000. Isn't it, Cal? Just had that contract done.
Right.
No?
No, if you took, it's based on 60 events. Yeah, no, it's, you got a good price. So that
I thought it was
should
pretty
be
much in line
enough
with what we
based on
budgeted.
60 treatment events, which is what you've always budgeted at.
Okay.
So and Russ, R&M is hard to predict. It's, you don't know what's going to break down or what needs, and you guys this year, we put a lot of effort into and took care of some of the repair and maintenance items that we haven't had before. We could go higher in certain areas. I guess the key is that if you've got some suggestions, we could take and reduce in other areas and come up. We got a balanced budget, but as long as you don't go over the budget, you're okay. You can spend, if you've got extra money in operations and maintenance, you could use it in irrigation and landscape.
Well, how do I have extra money in operations and maintenance if our projected for this year is 65 and next year our proposed budget is 49?
Okay,
how do I have extra?
It's
Well, the hurricane came out.
I just threw something out. I didn't look, and a lot of it was like she just said, hurricane came out at 36,000.
That's why it's lower.
Yeah.
I think what you're saying, Cal, looking at that.
But so you're assuming there's going to be no hurricanes next year? Is that the point? I don't get it.
Well, you've got to find out that if you have a hurricane, you're going to be able to take care of it. I just tried to come up with a balanced budget. You guys had this for 3 months, and if we need to make changes in the expenditures and shift them around, we can do that. It's your financial plan. Tell
Yeah.
me where
See-
you want me to change.
Well, the only thing the reason I look at that the way I do is I used to get paid off the bottom line, so I'd always want my expense budget higher. So if I didn't hit it, it all dropped to the bottom line. You get me? I'm thinking
Sure.
like
Well,
a bonus program because I used to get paid off the bottom line, so I'm always looking at stuff as far as
yeah,
last year versus the coming
yeah,
year. I mean, if we got the money to cover it from other funds, then I'm not worried about it.
yeah, but is your bottom line from what you're used to total expenditures, or is it just the department, like operations and maintenance? Is that the line budget we're going by?
No,
or the
yeah, no,
whole
I end up with
overall
total. I end up with total expenditures. I would get paid. You know what I mean? I'm not doing that nowadays.
That's
But I
what
mean,
I'm saying. As long as we don't exceed that,
right.
we
Well,
just
and-
have to remember if we have a large item, we just have to be prepared that we know the other lines that we projected spending, we have to cut back a little to cover what we overspent on. If that happens,
Well, and
it's just like the water budget.
what we look at is what revenue you have available, and is it enough to be able to meet, normal operating expenses? You're not going to get any more than, for the general fund, 359,215. It might adjust upwards or downwards a little bit, but not by more than a couple percent. And
Okay.
so we set expenses based on the revenue. And if we come under budget, which you guys usually do every year, nobody's getting a bonus.
All right.
Okay.
So you're
we
saying
can
all the
adjust it.
contracts for 2021, fiscal year 2021 are in place? Every single contract?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, if something might come up, you've got Soto in there. In the water sewer fund, you've got Mitch. We estimate what your engineering and your legal expense is going to be. Our contract's in there.
Yeah, the major ones.
So all your big ones are in there.
Okay.
Okay. All right. Any other questions?
Yeah, Cal, just one thing, when you extend this budget out monthly, your projection, can
Yes.
you please not extend revenue out into the later months? Because most of our revenue comes in somewhere around March.
Yes, we do that.
Yeah,
But almost all your revenue will be in December, January, February, and March. And so
Right, but when you
we've got a
spread it out
trend
in 12
that
months.
we'll put in there. Correct.
Oh.
Yeah, we do that.
Yeah. All right.
Okay, any other questions? If you are okay with the budget, you have a resolution 2020-06, which approves this budget. Need a motion?
I'll make that motion in 2020-06, Cal.
Is there a second?
I second that.
Okay, any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, now you have the resolution 2020-05, which is the adoption of the assessment levy to support that budget.
I move we approve the 2020-05 to go along with the budget.
Okay, is there a second?
I'll second it.
second that.
I saw Catherine waving her hand.
I'll
I
second
think
it.
that- okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right. Mitch, you're up, buddy.
Good morning, everybody.
Morning.
Glad to be here. So, the well field, everything is working good. We have no issues. We went out and double checked the generator to make sure everything's good with it. It's working fine. It's been fueled up. The water plant, everything is working great. With the wastewater plant as well, the big generator, we had it topped off with fuel, so it's full. And of course, it exercises every week, and we check the generator to make sure we're prepared if we get any action out of this storm that's coming. There is a estimate from BCI. They are the people that work on the SCADA computers for a backup computer for the plant there. I don't know if you guys all have a copy of that or not.
No.
It was sent yesterday. Chris, can you put it up on the screen?
Yep. Just give me a sec.
Okay, it was in the handout email that Chris sent out. And it was everything was 15,805.
Mitch,
Yes, ma'am.
I have a question. Can you
Yes, ma'am.
explain what the SCADA does for us?
Yes, ma'am. I will try to explain, and Ron, you can chime in and correct me if I'm wrong. But our plant, it runs via computer everything. So the SCADA is like the control center to run every aspect of the plant. It brings it all together to one location, and it starts and stops the sequences of events that makes the plant all run. For example, when the tank gets low, it sends a signal to the computer. The computer says, okay, it's time to start the plant. So it turns the wells on first. Then it turns on the plant. Then it turns on the booster pumps. And then when the pressure gets a certain amount, it turns on the next thing, and so forth and so on, to have the plant run fully automated. So we can do it all manual if we have to, but just in that chain of events that I just explained, if we have to do it manual, it takes an hour to start the plant, and you got to babysit it the whole time compared to the computer running it in auto.
Okay.
So it's just, it's great to have a backup, because if, like, we had a power outage last week, the computer went down and we couldn't get it back up for a while. So we had to run everything in manual. But one of the problems, it happened during the middle of the night, so we get no alarms. So when we came in, we had like 10 foot of water in the ground storage tank, and now we're trying to get it running in manual while we deal with the computer problems. Otherwise, it would have kicked over to the secondary computer and started on its own, or at the very least, called us and let us know there's an issue so that we could have went out at 2 in the morning instead of showing up at 6 in the morning and finding a low storage tank.
Is this strictly for the water portion of it, or does it include the sewer portion?
No, it includes the water and the sewer and the remote control of the sewage lift stations. Part of your sewage pump stations, they're remotely monitored and controllable by the SCADA as well. So,
Okay.
again, it's your SCADA is really old. Well, really old by standards of today. So this is just a copy, just a backup. It's no advances, but it's given us a backup for what we got.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, this is Ron, and I agree with the summary that Mitch just gave you. And you know, the obvious thing is you're relying on the computer to be there instead of having staff and employees being there, pushing buttons and doing things. And it was a system you started putting in a number of years ago. It was under 7 Trent. And as Mitch says, it is getting old, and eventually will need to be more money spent on updating it. But now you definitely need a backup in case something happens.
Okay. I have another question.
Yes,
On
ma'am.
Ron's plan, I can't tell you when it came out. Somewhere along the line, he was talking about SCADA system modernization, and this was for capital improvements at 200,000. This new computer has nothing to do with quote unquote modernization. Am I correct?
I'm not sure if the computer could be integrated over with the new software when they do a modification, but that's really above my expertise, to be honest with you.
Okay.
Yeah, when we put that in the CIP with the number you mentioned, that's a placeholder for future when we get closer to when we're actually have money available and we're doing the project. We will then have a much better idea what the components are and what the cost will be. So that's a placeholder. The computer that you're today, the backup, it may or may not have any value, depending on how many years out, we're talking. I mean, computers get, outdated pretty quickly. But yeah, anything you own would be part of the future system, but the cost is probably not anything you spend today is probably not going to reduce our ballpark estimate that's in the CIP.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. So, with that, we move on to the.
Well, Mitch, are you
Yes.
recommending that this be done or not?
I would recommend, and the reason that there's not 3 quotes is because there is really only one company in our area that does this kind of work, and all the other companies are far away, and travel expenses, the quotes wouldn't even be comparable. So yes, it's a lot of money, but if it were my utility, of course, I would spend the money to have that backup put in.
Okay.
Do we have the money for it? And where would it come out of? I guess what class or what account would it come out of? Any idea?
It'd be the water sewer fund, and it would come out of let me grab it.
That the water sewer fund we just reduced by 26,000?
No, that's next year.
That's why I have to.
It would be R&M instrumentation, and you would go over, but yes, you do have the money. You have I don't think you're going to go over your budget, but at this point in time, I'd say you have the money.
Okay.
But in the current budget.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. I make a motion that we approve.
If we don't have a hurricane, we have $50,000.
Sure.
Can I make a motion that we approve the purchase of this backup for $15,805.58? And there may be some other, if I was reading right, some other little incidentals thrown in there too.
Is there, Mitch?
Not with the SCADA, but there's the air conditioning problem in the motor control center room.
Okay, that's another proposal.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, so the SCADA, that should be a total price, and you have a motion by Ms. Kellmeyer, seconded by Mr. Kish, right, Russ?
Yes.
Okay, I thought I heard that. All right, all in favor?
Aye.
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 Any opposed?
Can I,
Sure. Terry?
one comment. I know he said that the other suppliers of this equipment were further away and the bids would be higher. But I think just to protect us, we need to follow that we get like at least 2 or 3 bids or proposals, because we could still have them and BCI would have been lower. But I think if we follow the rules, you're supposed to go out for bid. I don't know if it's only for 15,000, but
Some of those we have to pay the company to come in to do the evaluation. BCI, because they're local, they didn't charge us to come and do the evaluation. But some of the other ones, you have to pay them like $1,000 a day fee just to come look, to give you the bid.
all right, that's
Cal?
understandable.
Yes, ma'am.
Is there not a percentage of our budget where we definitely have to go out for bids if an item is thought to be so much percentage of the budget that we go out and get bids?
You're well under that. Statutory requirement for bidding is, no, it's like almost 200,000
Okay.
by statute. Dan, what is the limit now where you have to publicly bid projects?
Well, for a capital project, it's like you said, it's about $200,000. I don't believe that we have any specific limit established by rule of the district. We could go back and look at that. I think in the circumstances Mitch has indicated, you have really what amounts to a sole provider in this area. And the amount of this bid being what it is, I think you're going to be fine. You don't have any issues.
Okay, any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? I couldn't understand that. Terry, was that?
Aye, yeah, I approve.
Aye, okay. All right. Mitch, you're back up.
Okay. Not to keep bringing bad news to you, but the air conditioner at the motor control room, which is the electrical room for all the equipment, it has 2 mini splits that provide the AC to that room. Last year, we had a failure. We had one repaired and a failure on the other one, and the other one was the board, which they didn't make anymore. And I think we spoke about it at one of the board meetings. It needed to be replaced. But then like 2 weeks later, JP Brett and Son, the company that fixed the other one, they called and said, hey, it just so happens we have a one that we're replacing that the board's good. So if you want to repair it, we can fix it. So they came out and repaired it, and they actually didn't charge us anything for it. There was no bill. But those AC units, one is totally bad and the other one is in poor condition. So at a minimum, we need to replace one of those mini splits, if not both. And I provided the estimate last year from Brett and Son. I had gotten 3. They were the lowest by about $2,000. I can get those estimates, the older ones again, if you like, or have it rebid. But I called them and they said they would honor their price from last fall.
Do you recall
How
what
much was
that
that?
was, Mitch?
I don't recall it. I think it's in the $5,000 range per mini split. So
Okay.
it's $5,000 per air conditioner, and there's
Okay.
2 of them.
Okay.
Yeah, 5773 a piece. 5,573, total 11,546.
How many tons is that?
I don't know ton wise. Like I said, they're mini splits. They're small, but that
Yeah, but-
room creates a lot of heat because of all the electrical equipment being
Right.
in there.
Right. Well, I got a mini split in my house, and I didn't pay that much for it.
Yeah.
I got a Dakin mini split.
That's
Wait.
Yeah, they're 2.5 ton, Russ.
2.5 ton.
Yeah.
That might be a little bigger.
30,000 BTUs.
Well, you know, we got a local guy right here. We could ask him.
Oh, that would be great.
We got
or
Admiral.
someone
Yeah,
right there.
he lives right in the port. Maybe
Yeah.
he'd give us a deal or something.
I'm glad we have a portable right now, so it is nothing that we have to address today. If you want to give me his information, I'll be glad to call him and have him come out and give us a price.
Okay, yeah, because he lives right here. You could get an estimate probably today or tomorrow or something.
Okay.
Martin.
Yeah, Martin Paridi.
Okay.
Okay.
Do you, if it's something that you want to proceed, you could approve it for not to exceed 11,546. And then if Mitch can get it cheaper, he'll get it cheaper, or we'll go with this one.
Okay.
Or we can wait till next month, whatever you want to do.
He needs it now, right? He needs it pretty soon.
Well, he's using
I mean,
a
if it's not
portable.
working.
We have a we have a
Excuse me.
portable that we put in there to keep it cool for now.
What do you mean, a little standalone?
Yeah, standalone. Yes.
They cover like 300 square feet.
Yes.
I mean, so why does it need two mini splits that are 2.5 ton each? I don't get it.
Because it's still hot in there, but we're just got the portable making the best of what we can with what we got.
All right.
It normally is ice cold in there.
Is anybody there today?
I mean, the operator is there today, of course.
Okay.
Yes.
So I mean, they could let him in if we get him there.
Yeah.
Excuse-
Yep.
this is-
Absolutely.
This
Okay.
is what the Sanders. Mitch, I just sent you Admiral's contact information on your.
Okay. Great.
I texted you.
Perfect. As soon as we're done today, I'll call him and get him over there as fast as I can.
He's excellent, and I use him a lot, and his prices are much better than any other place.
I
Awesome.
agree with
Very
you,
good.
Audrey. I agree with you, Audrey.
Perfect.
Plus, it's the hottest time of the year. Do we want to wait another month?
Oh yeah, let's.
I think what Cal said. to
I
approve
recommend
this
we get
amendment.
as long as it's less than 11,000. If you want to make that as a motion.
Not to exceed 11,000.
I'd rather
Right.
go 12. I'd rather
How
go
much?
12. Huh?
12 is higher.
Yes, it is.
We want-
Just covering your
Well,
butt.
Okay, somebody make a motion.
I did.
I make a motion.
Okay,
Russ.
Russ,
Go ahead, Terry.
okay,
I suggest 11.5.
okay, not to exceed 11,500. Okay. And then Mitch
I'll
will
second.
get the lowest price. And Mr. Kish supported.
I second it. Yep.
Okay, so there's a motion that's been supported to replace the air conditioning twin systems for not to exceed $11,500.
Okay.
Okay. Any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
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 Any opposed? Okay, we're moving right along.
Cal, there's
Okay.
an increasing amount of background noise, of reverberation in there. I don't know if anybody else is experiencing that, but it's cutting out a lot of the conversation from folks when they're talking.
Okay.
Maybe caller 08.
Oh, Mitch, it sounds like it's from you. Are you, Mitch, it's from you. Are you in your car?
Yes, sir. I'm mobile. I've been trying to mute when I wasn't speaking, though.
Okay.
So, I'll keep.
If you could roll up your window, maybe that would help.
Oh,
But you're right.
I've got them all rolled up. I'll slow down. Maybe 95's too fast. I'll slow down.
But Cal, there was a noise in there before Mitch
Sure.
even started his part of the program.
Okay, I'll make sure and mute when I'm done. So the irrigation or the canal station, everything's working correctly with that. We still have the generator issue. I'm still struggling on getting pricing for that. I hope to get that over to Cal and Ron soon. The sewage pump stations, everything is good with those. All the generators, all of our preparations for a hurricane is all been done. So if we do have a storm, we're prepared and ready. And lastly, the meter boxes that were on the list that needed to be moved and or replaced, all of those have been done.
And you cleaned out that drain too.
Oh yeah. We were there yesterday or day before yesterday doing some work, and we cleaned that drain on 41 while we were there with the truck. So it's all cleaned out and flowing well.
Okay. Anything for Mitch?
The valve box cover at 169 Venus K, has that been put back on?
Yes.
Okay.
I had to replace the whole box, but it's been replaced.
Okay.
And the one 333, I think it was, the box that was really close to the road, that's been moved off the side of the road. We relocated that meter.
Was there not some kind of, I'm thinking Newport Drive, something's close to the road too. It'd be on the west side of Newport, if memory's serving me. Some little cover
Yes,
of
ma'am.
some
That's the one. That's the one I was talking about. There was a meter box, an irrigation box, that was right on the edge of the asphalt. The asphalt was actually breaking away around the meter box. We relocated that meter off of that side of the road, so it's out of the way now.
Okay. Any other questions for Mitch? Robert, you're up.
Good morning, everyone. I just want to let everybody know that on Monday, if we do get the storms, we are going to be on standby in case of broken branches or whatever, anything that happens. Our machine and equipment will be ready to go for Tuesday. I don't know how strong it's going to be, what's really going to happen, but we will be prepared for any minor damage or anything at all. So just letting you guys know that we are going to be on standby, and we'll have trucks ready to go if anything happens. Hopefully nothing will, but just to let you guys know that we'll be on standby. The CID notes, I used Chris's report, and Catherine sent me the part that pretty much to respond to. We've been working on that together. The removal of the weeds and stuff up there at the entrance of Newport Drive has been addressed. We did. We do not want to remove supports. I don't want to remove any supports on trees right now until after hurricane season. So then after maybe the next 2 months, I'll start taking off all the supports. I know some trees are ready, but I just want to wait just a little bit longer before I do that.
Makes sense to me.
I'm sorry?
I said makes sense to me.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, for sure. So I'll just wait a little bit longer, but yeah, it is on my list to do, but I'll do this right after, we get past all this that we got going on. Chris did report that the light was not working. The guys are out at the port again and going to check the new light. I don't know if he checked it after or prior. I don't know if it's, maybe he looked at it before we repaired it or not, but they're double checking it just to make sure it's all good. The approved estimate to do the repair on 41 median, I attached pictures to that. That was completed.
You want us to put those on the screen?
Yes.
Okay. Let me get in there and I can share my screen. Shoot.
There's actually 3 pictures: the pushback and the palm tree trimming.
Okay.
41 looks great.
Chris, can you do that?
Yeah, is it Sharon? There's one at least.
Yeah, that looks great, Robert.
Yeah, it's sure.
Yep, I even added riprap on before the drain just to kind of block any, debris or anything, hold it back if it does, it does help out. I just kind of threw that as an extra on there because once I figured it just, it just helps out from getting any major, a lot of wood chips and stuff like that from the mulch from the beds. So that, we put in the dirt, so it should not, it should be 100% after that. We also use landscape cloth on the bottom of the riprap, so just to help out with any type of, erosion on top of that. So that estimate is completed. I provided you guys pictures. So the other one is I sent a picture of towards the walkway of the sidewalk of Kay's Drive. Where the overhanging branches and all that, and you can clearly see where the guys pushed everything back, so there's the guys can mow the grass and not, hitting people along the sidewalk. Do you guys see that one?
Yeah, that's up there.
Okay, great. And then the palm tree trimming, the cleanup that we did on Union Road as you approach Union Road at the entrance there and all the way down of Union Road. Those palm trees grow a little bit faster, a little bit more dirtier, but just doing what we're doing is perfect for as needed. The other one is we were going to redo the rerouting of that timer with the wiring, but that area was flooded. We couldn't get to it. The valve boxes and all that where we're going to connect was just full of water. So I'm going to wait a little bit longer on that one. That's the only estimate that I got pending open with you guys. So just giving you guys a heads up. The oak tree that was down at the water plant got restaked, and so that one's back up. It is salvageable. We did remove the dead ones that were dead in between the bushes. And this is, I'm talking about the water plant. But the oak tree, we redug it, we put it back up, we put new bracing, so it's fine. The big clump of grass from where they did the repairs that were just on the side there, that all got removed and taken care of. We're just continuing on all weeds and beds. I mean, with all the wet, rain that we got and beds and mulch and whatnot, we continue to have a lot of weeds, but it's that time of the year. But the guys are, spraying as much as they can. We're just continue to, battle with the rains that we have now, but, it shouldn't be no problem to have it under control. We did all the cutbacks and trimbacks on Newport Drive from the entrance all the way to the end. I didn't put it on notes here, but there's a sea grape hedge on the right side. We're going to cut all that back down, start bringing everything down before we get into fall, start getting everything cut back, because if we get too late into it, it won't bounce back as quick as I want them to look normal before we get into the dormant season. So all our cutbacks that we're doing everything now. At the end here, it was the same one for the timer that I just explained to you guys. But other than that, I have nothing to propose. We might want to do the palm tree trimming closer to fall, but I won't do that. I won't propose that probably until the following meeting and happen so I'm looking for like September, October, right around October, if we can get that approved, but I will propose it on the next meeting, just on the count of palm trees and everything, stuff that I need to maybe uplift and all that, but just, that's the only thing that I see that I have to propose from my side. Other than that, I mean, I think it's pretty good. Everything's going along. 41, continues to have wet areas, but that's normal this time of the year, and we're just kind of working around it and working what we can. That's pretty much it on my side. Yes.
Robert, we were going to look into the cost to kill that Brazilian pepper instead of cutting it back every year.
Yes. I'm going to just do the area. I do have to propose that. I'm glad you brought that up. I'll do the removals of what it's going to be within our property. I do have a question. How far of that is our property based upon the sidewalk?
Yeah, I don't know.
Because I can propose it, based upon 30 feet, from the sidewalk. That's the only question that I, just to kind of have a boundary. So like that, when right. I'm not going to do extra than more than what we're not supposed to.
Right.
I think that's always been a big question, is how much of that is ours, and we get no feedback from Fakahatchee. And I'm sure if we kill more than we're supposed to because it's on their property, they'd appreciate it. But of course, we don't want to do that. So
Right.
I don't know
Right.
where you are.
Well,
Because Robert, where are you talking about? They're on Case Drive. Is that what you're talking about?
yeah. Well, it's the general area that we do every year that we always
Yeah.
push back. It's always Brazilian pepper and all the exotic vegetation that comes over. So
Yeah,
that's
the I don't know that's always been an issue, especially there at that turn before the the retention pond there on Case.
right. Right.
The second one where the sidewalk turns sharply.
Correct.
3 or 4 years ago, Steve Housecheck said he didn't even know where the line was before he could do anything because of the lack of funds at that point in time. He said he'd have to get a surveyor out to determine exactly where that property line was for Fakahatchee.
Okay.
I don't know whether he's been able to do that or not, but that little corner right there has always been a problem. Nobody wants to touch it, and primarily because Fakahatchee back then, they didn't know exactly where their property line was. He said he couldn't do it until he had somebody determine exactly what his limitation was. So someone should probably check with him again to see if that's been delineated now, so that we can determine what we can cut and what he needs to get into.
Okay. I'm sorry.
This is Ron. Paul Montez could, if you want to hire us, we can survey whichever areas of your property that you want. We have all the information. But that's just something you'd have to give us a request, and we'd give you a price.
Yeah. I'm sure we'd be happy for you to do it, Ron, but if we can get Fakahatchee to do it, they're the ones really causing the problem there. I'd rather they spend that out of their money.
What happened to the Friends?
I'm aware of that.
Wasn't there a group called the Friends of Fakahatchee or something that was in there claiming?
There was a guy that came to the meeting here 2 or 3 meetings ago, and I don't remember his name. If somebody can find out his name.
Jerry Winters. It was Jerry Winters.
Okay, he could contact Steve Housecheck, on our behalf and find out what the situation is with Fakahatchee. If they can't or won't do it, then we'll have to decide whether we want to have Ron, pay for Ron to, do that property designation for us or not.
Well, I know Jerry. In contact with him in Sydney. I'd be more than happy to get with him and see if he could get us some kind of answer as to what Fakahatchee's planning and how we can work together to get this done.
Okay.
The Brazilian peppers killed.
I think if you would, I think we should do that because, as good as they may be, that, Fakahatchee is still, government, so government moves slow on everything. So if we can find out whether they have the money now or even intend on doing it or not, that give us some idea. If they don't have any plans to do anything for another year or more, then we need to decide whether we want to go ahead and get it done or what.
Tony, a couple of months ago, somebody talked from the Fakahatchee group about coming and doing a little presentation.
Right.
And we told them to wait until after the holidays when people were back.
Right, exactly.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, we can still do that. But I think we ought to find out if we can, the information now. But I think it's still a good idea maybe when there are more people here, assuming the virus doesn't keep them away,
Right. I'll gladly reach out to Jerry and have him put something together and let us know where they stand, and I'll get the ball rolling on that.
Okay.
Good.
Okay, Catherine, when you do mention to them about that, the area at the water plant that meets with the preserve area along, all that area is starting to encroach. It's kind of out of sight, out of mind, but it's all encroaching along the fence line, along the water plant. It would be all the east side. all along it's kind of, like I said, it's out of sight, out of mind, but it is encroaching into your fence line.
Yeah.
Okay. I'll
So
get
how
with
much
them
of
on
that
that
would be
too.
theirs, Robert? Some of that is, is an easement with LCEC.
Right, and that's why I'm just saying I don't know if it's theirs or whose it would be, but that area is, it's all ingrown. It's in the backside. I mean, like I said, you don't see it, but it's already starting to push into the fence.
I think it would be good if we'd contact both, and then maybe at least one of them would do something. But LCEC's probably, with their easement, they're probably responsible for keeping that clear anyway. So we'd want to hit them up just to see if we can't get them out here faster than, get them moving faster than Fakahatchee possibly.
Yep. Those are the two areas that are more concerning. Other than that, like I said, it's just, how much of that and how much do we got to be responsible for, and what is the line? That's all I need to know.
Right.
Okay. If memory is serving me right, when LCEC was doing the trimming on Newport Drive, I got the contact information for the tree trimmer himself. Do you want me to see if I could dig that up, Cal, and you can get with him on that? Okay.
Sure.
I don't know if I still have it, but I'll gladly try.
Okay, and I'm gonna ask him what their plans are, or what they're doing or not doing, or to get a price from them.
But with LCEC, I don't know. The tree trimmer may not even be committed on that.
Yeah.
I don't remember that they did either, but they were working inside the community, weren't they?
Yeah, they did Newport Drive.
Right.
They did Newport Drive, and I talked to the guy. So I should have contact at least for the tree trimming company, that call them and see what happens.
Okay.
Okay, that's all I got on my side. Any questions or anything?
No. How's all your guys?
Everybody's
Healthy?
back healthy. Yeah, everybody is healthy, back in no positives right now. Everybody's been pretty healthy. I think it's, I luckily crossed my finger where it was 3 weeks back that was our last COVID phase. So hopefully as of right now everybody's been good. So that's actually pretty much a blessing all the way around for us. And yeah, so that's really good. And everybody that did get sick came back, healthy and back to normal.
Okay.
Okay, Robert. I don't know if this falls under your area, Robert, or what. But do we have any updates on the plannings around the retention ponds that were being done? How are they doing? Is everything going okay there?
As far as the ones that were already done, or they're going to add more to it?
They are going to add some to it. That's basically they've planted about 150 canna now, and they're planning on, it's managed plantings, and they're going to start planting some more, every month. I want to say, I think he said 50 to 60, but they're slowly introducing them in. And but Robert doesn't take care of those, Earth Guard.
Yeah, I know. I just what I said. I didn't know if it fell in his area, but I haven't heard any, recent update on that. So we're still on schedule, and everything's doing well so far.
Yeah, Chris put a comment in it on page 1, I think it was.
Yeah, I saw that.
Said they planted 150 golden canna within, split among the 3, probably 50 in each of the ponds. Plants are taking off, and they're planting more this month, and another 50 to 80 plants every 2 or 3 months until they get really established.
Right. Okay.
Okay.
Thanks, Robert.
All right. Thank you guys. You guys have a good weekend. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye. All right. That takes us to the financial, or to the manager, and you've got a copy of the financial report. And they're basically, you guys are still in good shape. You got money? You're paying your bills? Any questions, anything I can answer?
Did we get the final check from the payment of the hurricane damage? I know we got a big chunk of it, but I think you said there was something like $5,000 or $9,000 still.
It's about 5,000, yes. And I just got yesterday authorization or verification that that's been obligated.
Okay.
Okay. The only other,
Bulk of it's been paid.
Okay.
I had one, Cal, and that was the CenturyLink bill was different than the check amount. So when
Yeah.
it comes to next month, we're gonna be a little
$12
different.
short. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's and the accountant's out sick, so I can't get a explanation from him. Jen looked at it and said, yeah, it is. He paid the amount from June for the July bill, and it was wrong than the invoice. So if there's a late fee because there's $12 short on the July payment, we'll pay the late fee.
Okay. It looks like the initial cost went up about $9, $10, and of course that affects the taxes. So I'm thinking the bill is going to be more around the 290 than the 280 mark. So, okay, that's fine. That's all I had.
All right, anything else? All right, then need a motion to accept the financials.
So moved, Cal.
Second.
Is there a second?
Wait a minute, wait, I was on mute. I just have one thing. On the balance sheet, the current liability is greater than the principal we owe on the loan.
Okay, I sent you the CPA's explanation of that. I am not a accountant, so I mean, I don't understand it. I can share the,
Well, it looks
basically
like
he says it's
principal
right.
and
So,
interest. Yeah, it looks like it's principal and interest. It should only be principal. But no, I didn't get that. If you can resend it to me, I'd appreciate it.
okay, I can.
Yeah.
I have one too, Cal.
Okay.
And I think Terry brought this up a couple months ago, but under current assets cash in the water sewer fund, there's like a $10 discrepancy
That's been
between.
corrected. Yeah, that's something that it was held over, or it was something from Severn Trent's days.
Can we write it off?
Jen took care of it. I don't know if she wrote it off or how she took care of it, but the auditors never did anything with it, and it just carried on, and it was a pain, but it's been eliminated. Or you'll see that it's gone next month. If it's not now.
Yeah, I don't think it's there now.
Yeah.
I think it's been cleared up.
Yeah, I think she did take care of it.
Transfer between funds is what causes that. Okay.
Okay.
So
All
we have
right.
a motion.
And we got a second to accept. Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. I was going to also mention that a lot of times I'll get questions, and when I respond, what I'm going to do is copy the whole board, because I mean, if somebody's got a question, I think that you guys, everyone might have that question. So what I'd like to do is just make sure everyone, if that question's lingering and maybe you haven't answered it, or I haven't answered it, or you haven't asked the question, this way everyone knows what's being communicated from one board member or all of the board members. Okay?
Our questions
for
go
information purposes. Pardon me?
Our questions go directly to you, not to the whole board.
Right, directly to me, but I will copy the whole board with the explicit suggestion that you don't reply to all if you reply to that email. Okay?
Okay.
You have a copy of a meeting schedule resolution, and that's setting your meetings for the next fiscal year. We can advertise it in one, and that saves you the money from advertising every meeting. The second page of that, Exhibit A, identifies the meeting dates. And you can always change it, but this does save you some money as far as advertising. Any questions, concerns? Just need a motion to adopt resolution 2020-07.
So moved.
Okay, moved by
I'll
Ms.
second.
Dillon, seconded by Mr. Davis. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
You've got Chris's report, and you know a lot of the things that are in there. You heard from both Robert and Mitch that they've been taken care of. He had the update on the plantings. You're getting some natural arrowhead. On page 34 or page 3, you see where what they've done is grind it out a little bit, hopefully to be able to get the flow where it's not backing up. And if it doesn't work, he's going to grind it down a little further. But for right now, this is what he's trying. If you want to get it repaired, Chris said he contacted almost a dozen contractors, and nobody wants to come out and, you know, for such a small job. D&G did give a proposal, and for 157, it'd be 2,759. A K's Drive, 157 K's Drive, it'd be 2,759. And the one at 120 Wilderness K was 7,600. That was to replace 70 lineal feet of valley gutter. I guess it's up to you guys. Leave it as is and see if it's going to be a problem, or spend the money. But that's the only proposal that the only firm that came out and gave a proposal.
A lot of money.
Yeah, I think we ought to just see how this results with what we've done so far, and then if that continues to be a problem, then we can go back and spend the money if we have to, and hopefully do that in next year's budget.
Sounds good. Any objections to that?
No.
Is this holding off on both projects, both the 120 Wilderness and the 157 Ks, or just 157 Ks?
Just 157 Ks. 120 Wilderness would also be held off on. You know, you're going to have some ponding there, but do you want to replace it or not? And you'll recall that we thought it might be an issue with the contractor, and it was like that before. He sent pictures that were dated. So we tried, we got a proposal, and I believe it was this one, and or we actually had a contractor, and then he just refused to come out.
Cal, do you remember what Tincture was going to charge us for that?
It was less than that. Tincture
Okay.
ended up not doing it for that. They
Right.
said that it was misquoted.
Okay.
Well, we've been talking about that for a year.
Yeah.
So, because it's a delta there. So.
Yeah, but we don't know if the grind.
Would D&G come out just for the 120 Wilderness K at the same price, or would he up it? Because
They
he's
would come
not
out
getting
for
the
that.
other one.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, he would come out for that. They're only bidding this because they do a lot of work for us, and
Yeah.
so
We use them over at Sunset K too.
Yeah, and they did some work at Orchid Cove also, and we use them in a lot of other communities. Okay, do you want to go ahead and do 120 Wilderness K?
That's the more expensive one.
That's the more expensive one.
Right.
The other one is 31 lineal feet, and
Yeah.
you can replace all that, or, and I think it was suggested by Supervisor Kish can't we just grind it down? And that's what Chris has done. He cut a channel in that, but he can grind it more if it continues to be a problem. But if you want to completely redo it, 31 feet there, that can be done.
Noreen,
Yeah,
that's right next to your house, is it not?
it's a couple houses over, yeah.
Okay. How do you feel about getting it done? Do you think it needs work since you kind of pass it just about every day?
Well, like I said, hon, we've talked about that for a year, because it ponds there and it turns into a delta, you know, with all the water, and a whole lot of reasons, I guess, that we haven't done it yet, including this last guy. But I don't know, it's one of those, we're responsible, I guess. So, you know, it's $7,600 is D&G's quote. Have we tried other companies besides them, or is that it?
Yeah, we've tried over 10 of them. Can't get
Cal?
one to come out and give a call. Yes, sir.
Did they already grind that one on Wilderness? Did they already do something to it?
Yes, there's
No.
a picture on page 3 or page 34 of Chris's
Well, yeah,
report.
that was on. I thought that's the K's drive.
Oh, I'm
one.
sorry. Yeah, and Wilderness,
that's the
no,
case
they've done
drive.
nothing. Yeah, they've done nothing to Wilderness.
Oh, okay.
Is the
Are
money
they
there?
going to grind?
Yes. I mean, you're going to go over budget on that, but yes, you have the money available to take care of that if it's needed.
Well, I'm no engineer, but when I looked at, and you said it's 31 feet of
No,
culvert or whatever.
at
K's
Wilderness
drive.
K, it's 70 feet.
Oh, okay. All right. I was going to say, yeah, there's no way it's only 30 feet. Okay, so it's Wilderness is 70 feet.
Yes.
Right.
Okay.
And
Okay,
K's
so
Drive was 31 feet.
So it's $100 a foot, basically. Yeah, no. Well, Wilderness Drive, I think, might be all right. I haven't seen it since. I mean, not Wilderness. K's might be all right.
I think we ought to let K's Drive go and see how it works with the grinding that Chris has done.
Right.
If this thing on Wilderness has been there for over a year, we probably should just go ahead and take care of it.
Do it.
Is that a motion?
That's where I am, Tony.
Yeah, I'll make that motion.
Noreen, what did you say?
Pardon?
What did you say, Noreen, after Tony made the motion?
I agree.
Okay.
Yes, I'll second it.
Okay, I just want to make sure that it's guaranteed that it's going to be fixed right, because I looked at the architecture there, and it's going to be tough. I'll tell you, 7,000 probably isn't a bad price based on what has to be done. I just want to make sure it's right when they're done.
Yeah, because they're right in that cul-de-sac.
Yeah, it's a tricky spot. I think they're gonna tell you there's more involvement once they start doing that. But that's just me.
Right. Do you want Ron to send an engineer out and just make sure that they've got the proper slope before we pay
Probably a
him?
good idea.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's right. Nobody's out here, are they? I was thinking Ron could just run over there after the meeting, but I guess it doesn't work.
Okay, and Ron will probably just send one of his people.
Yeah, it wouldn't be me, but do you want it looked at before or after they do the work? Or both?
Well, probably both.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Probably.
Okay, so specifically you have the quotation on page 43.
42.
Okay,
43.
there's,
Yeah, 40.
yeah, 43, and there's, okay, I'll have someone go down and look at that and provide Cal a email about, you know, what they suggest, recommend, or whatever, and then if you go ahead and do it, then we would have someone verify that the work was done appropriately.
Okay,
Is that the request?
I believe so.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
What do
Ron,
What'll happen?
do you have a copy of their quote where they explain what they're going to do?
Yes, it's on page 43.
Okay.
we have it too. But what about the case drive? If that doesn't work, our grinding, are we going to call this company back to fix it, or are we going to have some backup here? If it doesn't work, have them do both.
I thought Cal had said that Chris could grind it more if this first go did not work. So
Correct.
if I heard that properly, then I'd say let's wait and see how it goes. Have it grind it again. I think.
Yeah, the one on Case Drive isn't. The one on Case
Is it
Drive
bad?
isn't that big. Nah, it's not that bad.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
My thought is, in all probability, D&G are going to be coming back for a little odds and ends things here. So it'd probably be nothing if it needs to get professionally done to have it piggyback some other area that needs to get done. So I think we hold off on Case Drive.
Okay. So the motion is to do 120 Wilderness K and to make sure the engineer approves what's going to be done and the quality of the work after it's done.
Yeah, Cal, I'm going to tell or ask David Schmidt to go out regarding both items, because if you're going to go out, you might as well look at both, and then he'll send you an email of his suggestions, and then you can follow up with him. How's that?
Sounds good. Okay. So, but the motion now is just to have 120 Wilderness K done and to monitor the Case Drive.
Correct.
Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
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 Any opposed? Okay. Let's see, anything else on the field report? Like I say, almost everything with the exception has been done. I will say that the report that Chris has on the invasives, all of those letters have been sent out. People have been calling me. I refer them to Robert. I said, you know, it's got to be taken care of. If we do it, we're going to have Robert take care of it. But if you want to go ahead and contract with him directly, please do. And I give them their number. But everyone has responded in one way or another.
Good.
Okay. Any other questions? Anything you want me to have Chris look at or anything in his report?
I have it on page 36 or page 5, whichever you're looking at, the sidewalks. That the weeds are getting big between the sidewalks, but also I got my block Sunset K around the cul-de-sac. It's between the gutter and the asphalt, and usually if I'm out, I try pulling it, but there's one there that's big. I can't pull it because it's going to break up the asphalt. So if they can.
Yeah, I was going to ask Robert to take care of that if they're out and about. Catherine, you're with them quite often, but you know, when Chris's technician's in town next time, at the port, they can spray it, but I'd rather have his time addressing some of the other maintenance issues. But if Robert's going to charge you, it's probably cheaper to use Chris.
Right.
But I mean, if they're out doing landscaping anyhow, they should be able to just take their Roundup and spray between in the cracks or between the asphalt and the gutter pan.
Yeah. I think this is probably one of the things, specifically the weeds growing up in the sidewalks, to let Robert know that they're becoming obnoxious and have the guys treated as they're going along doing their chores. So I think Robert just needs to be made aware specifically of that item.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and Chris's report really does get Robert's attention. I can't believe how many things from when his report went out and Chris made a lot of comments about Soto hasn't repaired this or Soto hasn't done that. Then you look at when Robert came in today, and I got a feedback yesterday also, all the things that he's gotten taken care of. And, I think Chris's report bringing attention to it, and then Catherine writing herd on Robert, he's really getting some good things done.
I agree with you.
Catherine, are you back in the port?
No, we finally set a date. John has a breakfast. I call it his little friends from work. The first Monday of the month. He would like to go to the October meeting and make that the last. So that's on the 5th. So we're leaving the 6th of October. We'll be back in port on the 7th because it only takes us one night. So that's the tentative plan for right now, is to be back at the port on October 7th. A little bit later than I would like, but John needs his little friends.
Okay. The two follow-up items, I think we've covered them pretty good. Nothing on that. Engineers report, we got the dock water. Mitch has set that, the meter and the backflow. So they're set, and this will come off the agenda going forward unless Ron's got something else. I guess not. Ron, you're up for a.
Oh, I'm sorry, I had unmute. Yeah, no, that's all taken care of as far as the engineer.
Okay. All right. Anything else you wanted to mention, Ron, as far as your report?
Yeah, I'm filing up the documents for the bidding of the water meters, and I need to talk to Cal next week, and hopefully we'll be able to wrap it up.
Right. And I did get that this morning, and I forwarded it to Mitch, and Mitch and Ron and I will review it, and we'll send it out to the board before we actually go out. But if anyone has any comments, let us know. But, we'll start, we're going to have to give at least 45 days for review to get good bids. But we'll get something out to everyone at that time.
Yeah, the one item, just so everybody knows, I believe we will probably want to have where we get a proposal from each prospective provider, in addition to just filling out the bid schedule. Yeah, and the reason for that is there are some different types of systems as far as some of the components. So when I started to, write a specification, for specific components, having to have certain, let's say, materials of construction and certain other requirements, there are more than one. There are two main ways that they could go. So And then there's also some issues that are a little bit different on some companies provide certain software and other things where there's a subscription per year and how to do that. And so there were a few items, and I'm getting those all taken care of, where I think we'll be able to compare apples to apples. But in order to do that, I'm asking for a proposal, and that we will evaluate both the proposal and the bid form in order to make the final determination of who gets the work. So we potentially could get a bid form that was a little bit lower price, but there's something else that, let's say there's an annual cost, or it doesn't have something that has the same warranty. There's a few things like that that might come up, and I think it's in our best interest as a community to put those words in there, and I'll make sure that Cal and Dan and everybody's on board as to, the fact that we may evaluate the bid. So, look, that's the one thing I got to get done this week. Finish it.
Okay. All right. Any questions of Ron? Okay, Dan, what's going on with Prep Mac?
Okay, I filed a motion to set aside the clerk's default, and I have spoken with the lawyer that blindsided us and explained to him the agreement that we had with the other attorney, and he was going to be reaching out to him. I'm assuming that has happened. He has not filed anything contesting my motion to set aside the clerk's default. It is set for hearing in November, but I intend to reach out to him again and see if he'll just consent to me having the judge enter the order without a hearing. And then we'll file the answer and move forward from there. But as soon as, if he's not going to be cooperative, the soonest I can get in front of the judge will be in November.
Okay. Any questions of Dan?
Dan, yeah, one question, this may be a little bit premature, but any indication from the governor about whether there's going to be any further extensions on these telephonic meetings, or
October 1.
We reached out. Yeah, we reached out to the governor's office back a couple of weeks ago, and the answer that we got was the thinking is that it's inconsistent to send the kids back prematurely to school while allowing you guys to not have to meet in public. They didn't say prematurely, I'm sorry. But they did come down with another order extending it through October 1. Meeting will be remote or virtual if you desire. I mean, you could meet in the old-fashioned way if you want to. I will say that, here in my little town, if you take out the prison population, we've only got like 7 cases out of a population of 2,400. And, I feel a lot safer sitting here talking to you over the computer than I would traveling down.
so September's meeting definitely will be on the phone, but October is going to be our choice, so to speak. Is that what you're saying?
It's your choice now.
Oh,
It allows you to do this. It doesn't mandate that you do it by phone.
okay. Well, yeah, I misstated there, I guess. But what I'm saying is that in October, the October meeting as it stands right now, would this option go away?
Yes, you would. 3 of you physically present. The other 2 could call in.
Okay.
And I thought, Dan, it was prohibited to have meetings with groups of more than 10. And I mean, we've got 18 here today.
I think that number's up to 50 now. Yeah, I think that number is up to.
It's up to what?
I think it's up to 50 now.
Oh, okay.
You know, that way that's how they were able to authorize having, you know, university classrooms open, school rooms open, all of that stuff, the meeting threshold or the number of people that can be present at a meeting. But you still have to accommodate the 6-foot separation.
Yeah. And
Everybody has to wear a mask.
And you have more than 15 today at the meeting. Okay. Anything else for Dan? Moving on, old business, North Hotel Parcel 13. We have had, and both Ron and Dan and I have participated in conference calls with a potential purchaser. They have not actually submitted anything. They wanted to know a price. I talked with Jeannie Kungle and got, you know, a pretty good estimate on what we had. But what I went back to them with and said it would probably be $45,000 to $50,000 an acre, making it a little over $2 million for parcel 13. And but we did not want anything on the North Hotel to be delayed. And I've had communications with the project manager for the demolition, and they're moving right along. They're not delaying, and they thought they're going out for bids now, and they're still feeling that they'll have the North Hotel demolished by the end of the year.
Excellent.
Excellent.
Okay.
Cal,
Yes, sir.
this is Ron. Yeah, I was involved with some of those conversations, as you said, when they started asking more specific questions and technical questions, and you know, what about such and such, let's say pertaining to zoning and other issues of that nature. I did provide them the name of the folks with our company, so if they wanted to hire someone, they weren't, you know, I didn't want to have them think they could ask a bunch of stuff of me, and I was working for the CID providing them information. So
right.
I think that was the appropriate thing to do, because that way if they want information, they'll have to pay for it or get it under a proposal to do future work. And obviously they could hire anybody, but I did give them that name, and I do know they're talking to the person at Whole Montez, because we did work for the prior owner, so we have all the you know, the documents and the background. So that just unless the board tells me otherwise, I think that would fit with things that the board's directed me in the past. To, you know, not have it where you know, I was spending your money on prospects.
Right. And they did not have, it seemed like a motor home court was something that they're considering, but at the same time, what we did mention is that part of the purchase would be, you know, the anticipated use, where the board would have an opportunity to, you know, thumbs up or thumbs down and base your decision to sell or not to sell based on how the property would be used or developed.
What about the dormitory? Is that included with the tear down or not?
No, that's a separate owner and separate discussions, but it's not being torn down by the county. Okay.
Yeah.
Let's see. That takes us to MBR, and Dan and Ron. That's kind of you guys. Anything you want to share on that? I guess if Dan, you have mentioned on a couple occasions that you're not sure that there is an opportunity that made sense to sue. And, you know, maybe this is, if that's the conclusion, then maybe we just need to drop this and move on.
Yeah, I think numbers that were thrown around when we were talking, and after you apply the retainage that we had, that we kept, and Severn Trent has never reached out to us for payment of that. You know, I could spend all that in the first couple of months. And, you know, especially if I had to get Ron up to speed as on a, you know, doing an expert report, it not cost, you know, there's the cost benefit ratio to play.
Okay.
Okay, so we're gonna dump it.
I think our intent, Cal and Dan, I think our intent was just, you know, Dan was going to see if it was going to be worthwhile to do anything. And obviously by his comments now and in previous meetings, you know, he does not think that that's a feasible thing for us to be doing. So that takes care of what we wanted from him at this point.
Right. And now Ron and Mitch will look at what they can salvage or how they can best utilize that plant in the
right. Yeah, that was the main concern, or at least I thought that was what we were looking at. The main concern there was, you know, if we're not going to fully restore the system, what can we do? You know, evidently there were one or more options to, you know, reuse that property or that, you know, that equipment, and that's what we were wanting, you know, Mitch and Ron to come up with, is what can we do with that if we're not going to, you know, totally restore the unit as it was originally built.
Yes.
That's the only step. Drop what Dan was doing, and then Mitch and Ron come back to us with alternative uses or methods for, you know, utilizing that equipment.
Yeah, this is Ron. Yeah, and I put a placeholder in the CIP just with a description, a general description and a number, and there was discussion on that at a prior board meeting, and what I got out of that discussion was it wasn't an immediate action item, that it would be in a year or two when we start addressing the rest of the CIP items and prioritizing them.
Right. Yeah, it would definitely be after.
So I'm not actively doing anything other than just keeping it in the back of my mind as I see opportunities or things that might, you know, come up. I put a note to myself because it was indicated to be in the future. And then as far as the issue with Dan, I provide him with a summary of my information. So I think as far as that, I'm out of the loop there unless he asks me specific questions.
Right. Yeah, this is not an immediate use situation, but the intent was to come up with some ideas about that part of the plant that we could start looking at after, you know, sometime in 2021 or early 22, we could start looking at, you know, doing that. The main thing was after the plant's paid off and we've got that extra money coming, you know, staying in our account. That's something we ought to, you know, move on. I think on a fairly, you know, quick motion, you know, to get the full use of the, you know, the plant back to where we, you know, have everything back like we wanted to have it to begin with. So it's not something we've got to do like in the next 6 months, but we definitely, you know, over the next 12 months, we ought to come up with something to give us a direction of how we can use that or what we can do with that equipment.
Okay, that's the time frame that I'll keep in mind for your, I guess, for your budgeting for next year, maybe. So 6 months from now.
Yeah, probably. You know, we'll be doing the water meters and all that kind of thing, you know, next year, in next year's budget. So, if we could have something by the time we do budgets, you know, next spring, next summer, at least that would give us something to look at and decide what we wanted to do, whether we wanted to put that into the 22 budget or not.
Okay, that's what I'll do, and at that point, we can. I'll do enough that I can give you a report in about 6 months, but not too much. And then at that point, you could decide, okay, are we going to do it for the next year or further out in the future? And it'll be your decision at that point to direct me to do any further work or not. Okay.
Okay. All right, the next two items, invasive vegetation and the water meter change out proposals. I think we've covered those pretty well already. That take us to new business, and it was suggested that there be a candidate, meet the candidate type setting format. Or I'm sorry, the candidate forum for the board seats, and you know, we put together just kind of a summary that was in the handout discussion. But I guess number one, is the board interested in hosting something like this? And number two, if so, do you want it as a special session or just as part of a meeting? And if we had it as part of a meeting, there's a suggestion on how it could be at either the September or October meetings.
Well, you'd have to do it pretty quick.
Yeah, whatever the board would want to do, but my thought is that if we're going to, as long as we're doing this by telephone, I don't think you're going to get much of a participation from the community off of that. And I don't know whether we might get more of a participation if we physically meet, but then we got that whole issue about the mask and 6 feet apart and all that. So we need to, you know, kind of plan that out in terms of whether we're going to do it by teleconference like we're doing now, or hold off for a month or two to, you know, meet, which I guess would be, you know, meeting in October if we meet face to face, so to speak, or early November. I guess you could do it either one. Well, no, I guess we could do it in November.
You want to just discuss this in September then? Because we can still.
Yeah, let's see how this virus thing is going and what idea we're going to be having for as far as a face-to-face or a teleconference in October. I mean, the governor may change that between now and then, depending on how things go with the school openings and whatnot. So, but we got to be thinking about, you know, which way we want to do it. I really don't think we'd get much of a participation by phone. You know, people that physically here, they might show up, but I don't know whether it'd be on the phone or not.
May I interject? It's Audrey. Tony, I definitely agree with you. As you know, last month we had a meet and greet with the candidates and it worked out excellently. We did social distancing. People wore masks. We took temperatures. Nobody got COVID. And I think if we wait for Kathy to come back in October, we still have time to do some kind of meet and greet in person. Either, I'm sure Job would allow us to have it at Orchid Cove, or even the restaurant like we did with the candidates. And I think it's a great way for people to see the candidates so they know who they're going to vote for. So that's just my sense. But yes, I do agree with you, Tony.
Okay. So table till the next meeting?
Yeah.
Well, we can get it done right away, right? Because, I mean, for people, it would have to be, like you said, after Catherine comes back. But I think you're going to have to do a separate meeting before the 20th. I think it's the 23rd is our October meeting. So you'd probably have to do it like the first or second week in October and hope the people that are back that are going to be back by then, like when Catherine's back.
Yeah.
So as long as we can schedule it.
There's not going to be that many back in October, I don't think. You know, it could be, I don't think it ought to be part of the meeting. It would be after the meeting.
Well, it's only registered voters anyway. It's only people that can vote. So exactly. Those people can be here.
Well, not
residents?
necessarily, because some of them, I know some people that still, that's when they disappear from here during the, they use the summer months to go, to go up north before it gets cold to see relatives and whatnot. So I don't know.
Well, but
Well,
what
I don't
Russ
think,
is saying is that you have to be able to vote, you have to be a resident down here.
I know
And so,
exactly. But the point is, it doesn't, just because of that doesn't necessarily mean they're going to be here the first part of October. They might still be traveling somewhere.
well, I don't think there's any perfect day, but
I don't think we
Can I,
should penalize the people that are.
can I say something? When the candidates forum was going on for the District 1 candidates, Audrey, if I'm not mistaken, I think you basically spearheaded that and let the different condo association managers know, or send it. I know I let our condo association managers know, but you let whoever know that it was going to be held. I think that worked very well, even though I wasn't here, as far as getting the word out, and it must have, since you had a very good attendance. I did hear from one person saying, had I known they were taking temperatures, I would have gone. I've also heard that there was turning people away because they didn't make reservations. Those are just things I heard. I don't know if they're true or not, but I think the way you handled the last one was a very good way of getting it out to all the voters in the community. I appreciate you holding off until I get there. I know it becomes a tricky situation sometimes. Leaving then is later than I would like to, but so I don't know if other than Audrey letting the CID know the particulars and the CID handling it the way they did by letting other people know and word of mouth, I think that worked pretty good compared to getting the CID running it, I guess is the way maybe I'm putting it.
Yes, thank you, Kathy. We put it on Nextdoor. John put it on the Orca Cove website. You guys helped by telling your other associations. I gave it to Cal. Chris put it on their website. So I think it was very well communicated. I don't understand about the reservation part, but maybe that had to do with the restaurant. But again, I'm sure we could have it in Orca Cove. And I think if you just do it, you do it. You don't have to really question how many people will be attending. I'm sure there's not going to be 50 people attending. Yes, I think there'll still people be there because those are the full-time people, as Supervisor Kish said. So I think just do it. And whoever comes, comes. And, we'll communicate the same way that we communicated the form that we had for the commissioners.
yeah, see, I agree with that. When you think about it, CID shouldn't even be involved. What's the difference? You know what I mean?
Right.
It's an individual situation, and CID has nothing to do with controlling the election or everybody's election advertisement or anything. So yeah, if Audrey would be willing to do something like that, just let her do it. Just let Catherine get back here.
Thank you.
So
okay, is that a consensus then? We're not going to, the board is not going to host a candidate forum, and they're just very appreciative that Audrey would be able to put something together for the people to beat the candidates.
Yep, that's fine, Kyle.
Fine.
that's fine. See how we threw you under the bus, Audrey?
I didn't know that I volunteered, but that's okay.
I nominate Audrey.
We can talk more about it in September. We'll still have time because Kathy's not coming back till like about October 7th. So I think in September's meeting, I'll have more information and to tell you what we plan to do.
Okay,
Thank you.
we'll put it
Thank
on
you.
the website.
Okay.
Thank you, Audrey.
Appreciate your help.
And then drainage issues on Newport K, we talked about that. Ron talked about that as far as the CIP and getting something together later. That takes us to supervisors' requests and or comments. Terry, anything?
No, I'm good.
Russ,
No, I'm good.
Catherine,
Not a thing, thank you.
let's see, Noreen,
No, thank you.
Tony.
I'm good.
Okay, that takes us to audience comments. Is there anyone from the audience with a comment?
Yes, this is Audrey.
Excuse me, Diane Morrow. Would I be able to speak for a moment?
Yes, Diane, but hang on. Somebody had come in before you, and I
Oh,
don't
okay.
have your
Sorry.
name. Who started to speak before Diane?
I did, it's Audrey,
I
and I'll
think.
take a minute.
Oh.
I just want to let everybody know that of course, we all know that the new commissioner candidate, Republican commissioner candidate is now Rick LaCastro, and he will be running against John Jenkins, who is the Democrat. I do believe that Rick has an excellent chance of winning, which I think is going to be an asset to Port of the Island. Since the meet and greet, he did an excellent job in presenting and advocating for Port of the Island. So if he does become elected, I think that we will definitely have a great opportunity to enhance communication with the commissioners regarding Port of the Island and any future needs and needs that we have now, especially the old hotel, because he is advocating, of course, to develop that and have it compatible with our community. So I think that was a great thing that he came and that we had that meet and greet.
Okay. Diane Morrow.
Yes, I have a, I guess you would consider it a question. On next door, Joyce Brown made the announcement that the restaurant was going to be closed for 14 days since there were people that called in saying that they were COVID positive and that she shut down for 14 days for obviously her waitresses and the chef and the bartender and whatever. And I thought that was very kind of her to be very forthcoming, telling everyone that there was COVID at that meet and greet. I do know of one person that was very ill. She is just starting to, she's still going from bed to couch, couch to bed, but she said she can breathe so much better on her own now. So as someone coming in and trying to get the seat that I'm trying to run for here, that makes me nervous. I'm a widow. I have no one else to take care of me other than me. So anything to do with the COVID, I'm kind of a chicken here. So I'm up in the air as to how that truly would work. I guess the bottom line is I'm scared and I'm worried. And that's pretty much all I'd like to say.
Okay.
Can I say something, Diane? I appreciate what your comments. However, that meet and greet was a Thursday. What I was told that on Saturday, the person who had the COVID was there for that Saturday at the bar area. It had nothing to do with the meet and greet. It was after the meet and greet.
I heard that.
That's what I heard too, it was from the entertainment at the hotel.
Correct. And unfortunately, that entertainment happened to go to the table that this my friend was at with her other three companions.
Sure.
So again, I'm just going by what people are telling me, and it does make me nervous, and I'm sure it would make everyone nervous, especially we're all over a certain age and there are different underlying conditions, blah, 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 like everybody else knows the rest. So again, I'm just saying, I don't know what kind of security blanket I could use for this, you know?
Okay.
Let me just throw something
I
in
hope
there.
I'm not sounding foolish and childish, but it truly is something that is paramount in my mind every day. Every day.
Let me just throw something in, just to throw a can of worms in there from the hospital. Okay, right now the hospital's down. The hospital COVID patients are down 75%. Okay, from where they were right after July 4th. July 4th, it was a big upswing, but it's down 75%. supposedly on our in-house hospital memos, they run COVID reports all the time. Now we have 3,600 employees, and we've had a few out that were COVID positive and whatnot. And believe it or not, they said that not one person caught COVID inside the hospital, which is, I think it's a liability issue because I can't believe that the people that have had it. Now I work in the ED and I only know, and people come in, we don't even know if they have COVID or not. And there's only been 3 cases of employees in the ED testing COVID positive, and most of them were young. They didn't really get sick. But they said that was outside exposure. And on top of that, we had a pharmacist that was COVID positive, and she was out for 14 days, and she was 10 days asymptomatic. Even after the 14 days, she was 10 days asymptomatic, and she's still testing COVID positive, and they let her come to work. So you figure it out. I mean, yeah. I don't get it. I don't, it's a really weird thing, but anyway, that's just my thought. I mean, the people that are at risk need to be careful. I mean, if you're over 65, you're really probably over 70, it's really you got to watch it. But it's not contact so much as it is airborne. And there's different things on masks, and there's different things on masks out there too. If you use those polyester scarves and stuff and put them up, that tends to aerosolize it even more so because it fractures the droplets and makes them smaller and keeps them airborne longer, so they're actually worse. So there's all kinds of things you got to watch out for.
That's what I heard about those gator masks, that because the mesh is so fine that what comes through makes these droplets even lighter and more so as to be farther airborne, travel farther airborne.
So if you have a meeting and keep the distance and make sure they have proper masks for people that come, especially by October, because I know I'm probably wrong, but I think this thing's going to go away and you're not going to see it again once it's going to be a single wave event. It is picking up a little bit in Germany, but they have a lot of tourists. There's a lot of people moving in and out of that country. But anyway, yeah, you got the right equipment. I think and the right distancing, you'll be okay in the meeting.
Okay. I mean, I've been using the face shield, the mask, the gloves. I feel like a hazmat going to pick up my groceries, So and I'm not even coming in contact with anyone. So I appreciate you're giving me that information, because that makes me feel like I'm the way I'm thinking is not being foolish, that I am using my own common sense to put things together. And I appreciate your comments, because they make me feel fortified that that there will be a bright light soon, hopefully soon.
Hopefully.
Okay.
Yeah.
Any other public comment?
Yeah, Cal, can you hear me?
Yes.
Ray Jensen. Couple of things. Audrey's right about the meeting, the meet and greet. The person that came that evidently had it was days later, and it was Rayford, who's the guitarist. And Joyce put that on next door, so that was days later. One other thing, the meet and greet that Audrey put on at the restaurant was well attended, and it really brought light to POI. We all 3 of the candidates, 2 of them didn't even know what POI was, which was a bit scary. But Rick Locastro actually came out and spent 3 hours driving around, and he went in the old hotel and took pictures, and he went back to the shooting range. He went to the marina, and he was very, very interested. And he said that he would work with the CID anytime if he got elected. So that's of interest. Now, bouncing around a little bit, as far as the boundary plan for the district, the county has that on record, and I realize it goes way back to September 1986, but they have the plot plan at the county, And because of all the different management changes and stuff, I wouldn't expect you to have it, but it might be a good idea to get it. They would have everything with all of the measurements, all the surveyed plot plan for the entire district, all the boundaries. And they'll give that to you. This is another question.
I do have copies as well.
Okay, good. Okay, so there's your copies right there. This is another question, and Supervisor Kish asked it. I didn't hear the answers, so and this was at the last meeting. The paving job up by the old hotel for around 7,100. Did that go
You gonna
out
buy
to-
one too, Kyle? You buying a new one too?
No, but I'd like to try one on. They might buy one eventually.
Mute yourself, Mitch.
Hmm?
Mitch, mute yourself.
Did that paving job go out to bid?
No, we have a hard time getting bids. Nobody wants to come into POI and get a bid. We got a price and that was it. The same company that's just doing the concrete work.
I see. Okay. And as far as the 50, we do weddings in Key West, which is, trust me, as strict as it gets. And you can have up to 50 people. It's recommended. You could even go over that. It's not a etched in stone thing. So you can have the meetings in public again, for what that's worth to you. And that's all I've got. The last thing is, Dan Cox, I think you look great.
You look like Jerry Garcia.
You look like Jerry Garcia, only a lot thinner.
What happened was, right before the middle of March shutdown, I had an appointment to get a haircut, and it got canceled. And so then when they opened it back up, I made an appointment, and they had a positive, and she had to cancel my appointment again. So I said, well, it's just the way it's going to be.
So way God wants it. And you know
I can't
what?
get a haircut by my fashion.
When you're looking at the computer screen, your glasses look like they have a deep blue tint.
Blue.
You should really consider that. It's a good look.
Any other public comment?
Yes, this is Michelle Holloway, and I just want to piggyback on the comments, all the positive comments towards Audrey's previous meet and greet that she organized, and it was very informative and well run. And Diane, I appreciate you being nervous about COVID. I did feel really safe at that meeting, and I hope that you would too.
Thanks for the encouragement. Really.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you so much. Really, it does help. Seriously. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I said thank you for.
Need a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
I'll second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Bye.
7:13. All right, thank you all.
Thank you, everybody.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
All right.
Say bye-bye.